Hello and welcome to Seatrade Cruise Talks. We're back with another episode. Seatrade Cruise Talks is a series of educational content featuring cruise professionals and industry leaders discussing the challenges and opportunities of the current and future industry climate. You can sponsor a talk to align your brand with innovative thinking and recent trends, and to receive highly relevant, engaged leads that are seeking the sort of value your brand provides. Contact us at sales@seatradecruise.com or find us on socials at Seatrade Cruise. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to our channel for weekly talks content.
Shipping is one of the most sustainable forms of transport for both passengers and cargo, but our industry still has the potential to become even greener. With the Environmental Port Index, port operators and ship owners can position themselves as industry leaders in the fight against the climate crisis, while enjoying all the operational and financial benefits of enhanced efficiency and sustainability. Global shipping emitted over 1 billion tons of CO2 in 2018. While most emissions happen in transit, making it hard to see, pollution during port visits has a direct impact on our local communities and wildlife. But together, with the EPI, we can make our industry greener and fairer for all. The EPI is a sophisticated reporting tool that allows port operators and ship owners to monitor their operational efficiency and sustainability. It does this by collecting more than 20 key measurements, including CO2, SO2, PM, and NOx emissions while at quay. This complex data is used to calculate an easy-to-understand EPI score, supported by clear and insightful reporting, which can help ports and ship owners to plan, implement, and monitor sustainable operating strategies. This not only has the potential to deliver environmental benefits, but economic ones too. Ship owners who are working to improve their consumption of fuel and other resources can review their progress ship by ship or across their entire fleet, helping to increase profitability as well as sustainability. The EPI also empowers port operators to promote a better quality of life and greener economy in their local communities, as well as to act as proactive partners to the ship owners who visit them. As more ports around the world continue to join the EPI, we can use our shared knowledge and resources to overcome even the most complex sustainability challenges. Now is the perfect time for your port to join our growing international network as we chart a course towards a brighter future for our industry, society, and planet. The Environmental Port Index. Greener ports for a cleaner world. Visit epiports.org to find out more and get in touch today.
Today I am here with Jon Olav Stedje, who is an EPI ambassador. Welcome, Jon. Thank you for joining me today. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about what brings you here today?
The reason I'm here today is because I represent a company called the Environmental Port Index, or EPI, and we are nominated for the Seatrade Awards for the Sustainable Initiative of the Year, something we highly appreciate.
Well, congratulations. It's great to have you here today. And I guess we could start off by maybe you explaining to our audience in simple terms what the Environmental Port Index is.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. The Environmental Port Index are a sophisticated but easy to use reporting tool that calculates the environmental impact from a cruise ship while in port. All ships entering the EPI port must register in an online portal. Technical specification like engine, energy efficiency, and what kind of exhaust gas cleaning systems they have aboard and so on are being registered. After the port visit, the ship needs to report the fuel consumption, what kind of quality of the fuel, and if they have used their exhaust gas cleaning systems like scrubbers or SCR. And based on this reported data, a score between 0 to 100 is calculated. The score is calculated based on 20 different parameters, including emission of NOx, SO2, CO2 equivalent, and particulate matter, and also energy efficiency. The collected data is then controlled by DNV, and each port will have access to a selection of data. The EPA score may be linked to an incentive system, honoring the good performance, and increasing the cost of positioned polluters. That's basically what environmental port index is.
Amazing. Thank you for breaking it down for me. It sounds like a very extensive tool. I was just wondering if you could explain a little bit how and why you created this tool.
If we go back a couple of years, like to 2016, 2017, cruise was a very popular segment to attack. And it was a lot of questions from media, politicians, and also the public regarding the impact from the cruise industry, the environmental impact. And out of that, it came a lot of speculations and also conclusions. And the result of this, it was a lot of sort of false information that was spread. And that kind of information was quite harmful to our industry. Not only the cruise industry itself, but also for each and every individual destination. So therefore, we wanted to sort of collect the information based on actual emissions, and also to be a bit transparent towards the public. And several Norwegian ports joined forces, and with support from DNV, and EPI was established. And we also was a lot of cruise lines, including MSC, Viking, Carnival Corporation, and RCCL, shared their thoughts and gave us input in the development process. We also measure the air quality in the port and also in the city center. And for us, it was important to draw the lines between the findings of the actual measuring we were doing of the air, and also what data we had into the EPI portal. And this was to see if it was a significant increase of emission while we had a cruise ship alongside.
And besides, the benefits of transparency and some of the data collection that you've already mentioned, how does the EPI, like findings and reports, benefit you as a port?
I got a lot of things to talk about there. The way EPI findings are benefiting us as a port is that we are in control. We have access to the environmental impact. We also have data regarding what kind of emission, kind of fuel, kind of technology they have on board, and what kind of operational matters that has been taken on board. That means that we are on top of the situation and in control. If there are any speculations, we know what's right and what's wrong, and that's a good thing to know. And we can use collected aggregated data for environmental reporting. And it's quite funny because we learn a lot about using EPI. We learn a lot about how a cruise ship works, and how it's operated, and what kind of measures can lower the impact, what kind of fuel is bad for emissions, and so on.
No, fantastic. I'm sure that all of that data really makes a difference in the port being able to, change its operations moving forward. And I guess I'd love to touch on, earlier you mentioned that the EPI score is out of 100. And I was just wondering if you could give me a ballpark of what is a good EPI score?
That sort of depends what line you are on. For us as a port, a good score is above 40. It means that the ship has performed better than expected based on their baseline. It means that we have an expectation to the ship. This includes that the ship meet international standards, including being Tier 2 compliant for us as a port, and that the sulfur content in the fuel is less than 0.1. And also that the fuel they are using is according to the size of the ship. That means that if they are using more or less than the other ships compared in the same size class, if you understand.
I think I do. I have to say,
yeah, basically a good EPI score is when action has been taken. Like there have been investing in new technology, clean fuel has been used, and use of scrubbers and SCRs, and operational matters has been implemented.
Wow, fantastic. And I wonder how many ports in Norway are currently using the EPI system, and what's their feedback that you've received?
At the moment, it's around 25 Norwegian
Wow.
ports are using EPI, but it's still increasing. And we also were so lucky that the port of Faxaflóhafnir, the port of Reykjavik, joined EPI a couple of months ago. And there will also be announced a couple more ports in the near future, so that's quite exciting. And the feedback from the ports are good. We are sort of aiming to have a meeting with all the ports once a year, just to have feedback. And because it's important that different ports have different issues. So it's important for us to have dialogue and to have a constructive development to meet all the needs for each individual ports. And it's also very important to have DNV as a trusted partner. Many of the ports know DNV, it's a strong name. And they have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. And DNV is also available for the member ports. So if the member ports have questions or will need further information, they can also contact DNV.
Fantastic. That sounds amazing. I'm glad to hear that, the feedback so far is positive. And that just goes to show how much good that this tool will do in the future. And I wonder, how can ports begin to use the Environmental Port Index towards an incentive system?
That's a difficult one. For each individual port has to take this into consideration. To use the same incentive system in all ports doesn't work.
Of course.
So each port have to sort of customize their own incentive system. And EPI can also be used for environmental reporting only, but for the cruise lines, it can be important that the effort and the measures taken pays off. So that's sort of the basic thing with the EPI, is that if you do something good, you should get awarded. And that's something that is important when you are implementing an incentive system.
Of course. Fantastic. And I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I was wondering if you could comment a little bit further on the importance of transparency and documentation within the cruise industry more widely.
I guess now we are in a time where the need for information is quite important, and people want to know what's going on. And since we are having like this green transformance, it is important that people know what the impact of the cruise industry is. And we must admit, even I, as a part of the Port of Flam, have to admit that earlier we may have been a bit bad of communicating what's happening. It's been like we are holding back information, and then people are starting to create their own truth, and it's a lot of speculations. And I guess you are often heard that the emission from a cruise ship is worse than 14,000 cars and so on. So therefore, it's important to have this documented and to show that to the public. This is actually the emissions that the cruise industry are contributing to. So take it or leave it. The facts are on the table.
Fantastic. Yeah, I would definitely agree that, misinformation in the industry in general is a huge issue. And I think that it's fantastic that the EPI can be used to document the truth, as you said, and that can be used moving forward. And I hope to see a lot more ports using EPI in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too, of course. But I also hope that we are now in our industry, we are very good at telling each other the good stories. And I also think that it's important that we now start to focus more on telling the public and the media and the politicians the good story and what we actually are contributing to. That is sort of a reason for me to be proud that I am representing a company that actually are bringing facts to the table.
Of course, you should be proud. And congratulations on your nomination for the Sustainable Initiative of the Year at this year's Seatrade Cruise Awards. The final question I would love to ask you is why you think you should win?
Oh, that's many reasons.
Maybe just like the top two then.
The top two, I think actually we could bring in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We are promoting sustainable technologies and we are giving access to information. We contribute to planning of sustainable cities on that matter. We modernize infrastructure by incentivizing sustainable practice and technology. We reward those that reduce emissions. And most important of all, we work together as a group of ports. And also, we need to bring in the cruise lines here because they are very important for us and they have contributed a lot to the development of EPI. I think it's a big step for them to share this kind of information. So we are very grateful for that. And also to take part in the discussions we have. And also, of course, for taking their time to do the reporting. That is very important. So we are very grateful for the cruise lines' contribution to EPI as well.
Well, fantastic. And congratulations once again for your nomination. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jon Olav.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to be here as well.